Okay, so I wanted to say peace and blessings to my brothers and sisters who are going to get a chance to come across this video. Um, okay, so I know this video is going to be for the Pretty Girls press page, but I'm aware that other people are going to probably come across this video and they're going to probably get a chance to see it. So, anyways, this video is not just for women. This can honestly apply to whomever, whoever is going through and dealing with things like this. This applies to spirit. That's what I want to say. I think that's what I'm trying to say. This applies to spirit. So that means it's genderless. So that's that with that. Um, I will preface this video by saying that this message, like any of the messages that I do believe that the Father or that the Spirit will always, you know, push me to do, it's not new. It's not old. It's just more than likely going to be a reminder for some people, and really a reminder for all of us. Honestly, it's going to be a reminder for us all. So, I've also had it for a couple of days. I've been sitting on it, but not because of anything in particular. I've been going through my own stuff. I've been going through a lot mentally, been having to work out a lot of issues within myself, just been thinking about a lot of stuff. Even if I'm not necessarily working on anything, I have been thinking about a lot of different things. So, today is going to be a day that I record. That I record I'm hoping self-help videos. I'm hoping self-healing or things of that nature, but that's what I plan to do today. This first video is going to be talking about not blaming other people. I wish I knew what date was on this, and I'm about to go try to look at it. Hold on, because this is man. Like I said, this came a couple days ago, and this literally woke me up out of my sleep. I think the spirit was probably giving it to me as I was getting ready to come to, or the spirit was just talking to me while I was sleeping. And when I woke up, I was like, let me write this stuff down. Let me write this stuff down. So I don't have my details. I don't get to see my details like I want to. Yeah, I don't see my details like I want to. But the point is, this was really, like I said, a couple days ago. When I woke up out of my sleep, I was so pumped. Like, I don't know, I was weirdly pumped. And I was like, yeah, we gotta stop doing that. We gotta stop doing that. So, y'all, please excuse me. I know that I'm messing with my eyes a lot, but I have to admit that I am trying out lashes for the first time, like individual lashes or something like that, or whatever. And I'm just weirded out by them, to be honest. And I'm having to get adjusted, and my eyes are irritated and all of that, but whatever. So moving forward, I'm going to read first and foremost because I do want this to go kind of quick. So I'm going to read these things that I'll jotted down out of my sleep first, and then maybe I'll come back and expound upon them if I feel that they even need to be expounded upon. So here we go. Stop blaming others for the decisions you've made, how you've handled something or people, or how you reacted or responded to someone or your circumstances. Understand that there's a time when no one else can make you do or say anything. Now, I will say this is inspired by a number of different people, including my own self. Um, oh my word. I've spoken about this whole being a victim before. I have spoken about how things like abuse and when we were younger tend to play a huge role in the way that we identify ourselves, whether we come across as victims, whether we come across as, oh, the world is doing something to me, or there are so many different things, or other people outside of myself are doing these things to me. And we will take on, first, I think a lot of our natural responses are to become victims. Like, why is this happening to me? What is this for? What did I do? Type stuff. It's actually after we get a little bit older that make we begin to make more of another choice on whether or not you want to continue in this being a victim, or if you want to become a victor, you want to overcome it. So, with that being said, this is for the people who are still in the mind state of victim. It doesn't matter how old or how young you are. Honestly, it really doesn't. I cannot stress this enough. It really doesn't matter how old or how young you are. Being a victim will honestly be detrimental for you, because it'll cause you to consistently be in the mind frame or mind state of being a victim and being victimized. So with that being said, when you look at the world, when you look at things happening to you, or the things that you go through, or the decisions that you make based off of the things that you are going through, you're going to look through the lens of being a victim. And let me tell you about these types of people. Because I was this person, not going to say I'm completely out of this, but there are certain aspects that I can say that I graduated from. And this is the thing. Being a victim, everything is scary for you. Everything comes from a place of fear. It's like you can find the negative in any and everything. And excuse my eyes, I notice that I am looking crazy as I'm thinking and making them bigger and smaller and all this kind of stuff, but I'm expressive, guys. I apologize. I just look crazy to myself. But anyways, yeah, like when you are in the mind frame of being a victim, you are going to look at everything from the standpoint of a victim. And that is a pessimistic attitude. And not only is it a pessimistic attitude, but literally you drain the life out of people, because it comes across in your viewpoints. It comes across when you're making statements. It comes across, of course, when you're making decisions, when you're trying to plan your day, when you're trying to think about what you're going to do, and maybe obstacles that you'll have to face and stuff like that. It's like you take on a complaining attitude, an attitude of like, oh no, well, I don't want to do that because so and so might do this and might do that and da 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 da. I noticed that us in the victim mindset, we do think a lot. We tend to be in our heads a lot. But in the process of us being in our heads, even still, we are filtering our analytical skills are still being based from being a victim, from wondering how we're going to look to someone else, from wondering even maybe how we are going to cause someone else to feel. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we don't care about that, but we put on the air that we care about it. And in the moment that it rubs us the wrong way, then we're going to have a problem, because listen, I considered you. Or listen, I considered this and I still tried to maneuver somehow around it, and it's still not being appreciated. So you still become this major pessimist, is the whole point I'm trying to make. Operating in a victim mindset and mind frame will have you coming across as a pessimist. Everything goes wrong in your life. Nobody understands you. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that these feelings are valid. I know that they are rooted in some truth and everything. Like, some people really may not understand you. But at the end of the day, oh God, I'm getting to a point that I really wanted to wait to make. I'll just graze upon it. At the end of the day, we have a choice to make. So that's the grazing over it right now. Let me keep going. So basically, we got to stop blaming other people and being in a victim mindset, blaming others for the decisions that we've made. At the end of the day, whether we were still operating from victim mind frame or victim mind frame, whatever we were operating from, it was still a decision that we had to ultimately at some point make or agree to. And that was something that I had to really get, especially when it came to men. I was putting myself in situations that would cause me to go back to feeling like a victim. and yet and still was getting mad at the brothers, at the men. They were my brothers, but you know what I'm saying. When I say brother, I just mean another person who looks like me or another person, but of the male. But anyway, I was looking at them and faulting them for mishandling me when I allowed myself, against my own better judgment, to be placed in certain circumstances. So I was shunning them when they were doing what was natural to them. And I wasn't even holding myself accountable sometimes when I put myself in a place or in a state where it wasn't comfortable for me, trying to please them. And then I blame them because of what I decided to do. Some things could come from generally from the fact that I liked them anyway. And so the decisions I made were based upon the fact that, oh, I like this person. So with that being said, we got to stop blaming people, period. We got a choice. At some point in our mind frame, at some point in interaction between people and ourselves, we have a choice. And when we make that choice, no matter what the outcome is, we have to be okay with it. Here we go. How you handled something or people. A lot of times people will place blame when somebody talks about how they handle a situation. For example, I have this movie that I absolutely love. It's called 27 Dresses. I'm such a well, I used to be, even if I'm not that much anymore. I do still have a soft spot for romantic comedies, but nevertheless, there's this part in 27 Dresses where the main character, who was kind of like this older big sister, wanted to please people, um, very responsible. I don't even know how else to describe her. She was responsible. She kind of had this fantasy about weddings and stuff like this. And so everything that she did, it was through the lens of this fantasy and this ideal of being a great bridesmaid, so eventually one day she could be a good, so she could have other people to be there for her in her day. And it was also more even about not being just a good bridesmaid. It was about being a good everything, a good sister, a good daughter, a good friend, a good employee, because people are going to appreciate what I do. Not only are they going to appreciate it, but I will be recognized for it. So these were the things that motivated her to do what she did. There comes a scene where it's like the kind of like the climax of this character's breakthrough, if you will. But she pretty much spazzes out on her baby sister because really she's upset because the man she's fantasized over and fantasized having a relationship with decides to go for her sister as opposed to her. And though she was really upset about it, she was hurt about it, she was trying to be the bigger person, trying to get over it because it was really actually just a fantasy, and she had never really said anything about it, even though people could tell. And she goes off, and at the engagement ceremony or the engagement dinner or something like this, she blurts out truths about her sister. Whew. And it's not only because she was with this man that she always adored, her sister, I mean, it is also because she was actually tired of having to take care of her sister. She was tired of the decisions and the way that she thought about her sister, and her sister not, you know, being the same, not being like her. So what happened was she blew up. She was like this volcano that absolutely erupted. And that's a horrible place to be. And at this point, she could have blamed people, but she didn't really blame anyone. She tried to, but when her best friend kind of set her in order about it, she had to really realize and wake up to the fact that, oh, I'm really responsible for this. I could have handled this a completely different way, and instead I chose to do this. So with that being said, this is my whole point with all of that. Again, everything still boils down to choice. We have a choice in how we handle something, how we handle, if it's not just a isolated circumstance, we have an option. We have choices of how we handle people in certain circumstances or situations that we might find ourselves in. So, or of course, how we react. When I say handle, I'm talking about how we treat someone else or something else. And when I say react or respond, I'm talking about based off of what someone else does to us, we have a choice in how we are going to then respond to them or react to them. Moving forward, understand that there's a time when no one else can make you do or say anything. That you are choosing to do so for a reason that honestly, blaming others keeps you from seeing. And some people are such I think I would have to say are in such denial about themselves and not willing to look at themselves that they'll know that they'll know what it is, or they'll know the reason or the underlying reason behind why they're blaming other people, but they'll pretend like they have no idea what's going on. So basically, and then you have those who really just don't know because they haven't taken the time to do self-reflection and introspection. And so for those people, I feel a little bad for, but at the same time, you have to sit down, you have to examine you, and you have to look at, why am I really upset, or why am I really sad, or even why am I really happy about this? What is it that's, what's motivating me? And from asking questions like that, these will be the things that lead you to understanding why you are responding the way that you do, whether in deed or in action. So moving forward, so I began to talk about myself, and I was saying sexual abuse was the thing that led me to blaming others in some way for my own choices and or behaviors. And like I said in the other example before, one of those examples was the way that I interacted with men. First and foremost, I was usually closed off from them, very blunt, very short-winded. I mean, not short-winded, but very short with them. Some people, depending on the vibe that I got from them, if I felt comfortable, if I felt safe with them, or if we already had forged a friendship that was like years in the game, then I was more comfortable with those people, and they would get to see the softer, sweeter, more loving and lovable side of me. People who I did not know, on the other hand, were always going to meet don't get me wrong, I could be pleasant, but if you said something that may have triggered a response that I felt was, where I felt maybe you were too sexual, or maybe I felt that you were objectifying me, even if you were just telling me I was beautiful, if I felt that you was doing too much, I may come off a certain way to you. And I would feel justified completely because I'm a person who has to guard myself and protect myself against the advances or unwarranted advances of men, because I have been hurt by a man before in life, and therefore I can't trust any of y'all, so I got to protect myself against all of y'all, even if none of y'all are coming for me. So these were the ways, like, this was some of the things that I did. And then I was like maybe a Sour Patch Kid, because if they did anything to salvage themselves or save themselves, or if I realized that I was being a little too harsh, and maybe the spirit of the Most High would convict me, like, why did you have to respond to this person like that when they didn't come at you in this way, or this and that and the third? Like, you don't know how they were coming. So then I would soften up a bit, but I'm pretty sure they felt like, girl, you are crazy, or you're a Sour Patch Kid, because you were just biting my head off the last time I saw you, and now all of a sudden you are sweet, you are genuine, you are friendly. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, the point is, we have choices that we got to make. Period. Let me not go too far. Let me not go too far. Let me not go too far. My eye, this eye is puffy. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so I was like, yes, living with the effects of abuse played a huge part in the decisions I made, but upon further examinations over time. See, and that's another thing I want to say. These self-examinations, they're not going to be one hitter quitters. Um they're not always going to be really fast, that you have these aha moments and these epiphanies about yourself. It's going to happen over time. Just like over time you become this person, just like over time you have allowed this mindset of being a victim to shape you. It's going to take time for you to peel yourself and pick yourself apart, not just to pick yourself apart and beat yourself down, not at all, but to pick yourself apart so that you can rebuild. Rebuild the things about yourself that you really don't like. Rebuild the things about yourself that people are constantly letting you know, like, this is a problem, sis. Like, this is the way you're coming off when this is what's really, this is what I'm doing. This is what I mean. Da 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 da. Like, a lot of victims don't realize that, and when I say victims, I just mean people who are operating in this mindset. A lot of people don't realize how they're coming off to other people is really, it really can play a part in how people respond to you. If you're defensive already because you've been through so much when you have to go, when you have to ask for certain things, or when you're triggered, if you don't pay attention to that, then you in your own brain, when you're just being yourself and you're just handling things the way that you normally do, somebody who doesn't know you can take that in a completely different way and offend you. They can hurt you because they don't know you like that, and they don't know what you're having to struggle with. They don't know what you're dealing with. And if you come off in the mode of victim and you're being aggressive or you're being defensive, and they don't really understand where it's coming from or really understand where you're at mentally, when they respond to you, it can come off as a clapback. When they respond to you, or they could very well be getting aggravated or irritated with you, and you take it super personally because you are again are coming off as a victim. So then you return what you just sent out to somebody and they were responding to you because of it. You then send it back and try to make people feel guilty based off of how you came off. You got to understand that you're coming off a certain way to people too. Even though you may know what you mean, you may know what you're saying, you may know how you feel. If you cannot clearly articulate that to someone else, and even if you try, some people still can misunderstand you, but if you're not willing to forbear with people to get them to understand you, then there'll be a lot of misunderstandings. But it's up to you to make it clear. Not to put on a whole nother pity party show and then cause people to be like, whoa, this is too much. You know what I'm saying? So again, self-examination is going to take time. It's not going to happen just like that. Y'all didn't hear no snap. But anyway, moving on. Upon further self-examinations over time, I realized that I was allowing hurt, fear, emotional pain, and victimization to shape my decisions. There were times that I literally did not even want to take certain jobs, though I needed to work at the time, or at least that was the mindset I was in, that I needed to work for someone else to give me money. I needed to get a job, but I didn't want to work where men would be around. Jude, how exactly are you going to get away from men when they're everywhere? You know what I'm saying? So that was crazy. And for years, even though I may have still taken jobs and accepted jobs where men were around, I was like, don't talk to me. No. Hey, like it was just a lot of mentally stuff. It was a lot of things going on mentally within me. I really didn't want to be there. If I had my choice, I would have been working only around women or even or around men that I felt comfortable with already. So anyway, again, I allowed the residual effects of the abuse to control me rather than to take control of myself. So moving forward, which led to major misunderstandings between myself and men. It led to more distrust and disrespect, especially of male authority. It led to attitude and behavioral issues. And then I was like, and I put in parentheses that I may not fight outright with my hands or my fists, but my mouth and my words were my weapons. And that is something that has continued on really it took me years, to be quite honest. It took years for me to recognize this about myself, or to acknowledge it, because I think I recognized it, but I thought it was my gift and I thought it was my weapon. And so I was going to use it. And when really it was not the best for me, especially if at some point I desire to be in a fulfilling relationship with a man. So moving forward, here's everything. There's a step in self-healing that many of us tend to overlook. And it's sad to say the least because it's free. Like, I was talking to a sister this morning, and this lady comes across like this to me, and not just her. There have been so many people that I have run across, period, who come across this way. They're victims, and you can hear it in the way that they speak. You can see it in even the way that they write, they type. Like, you know that they are being a victim. And I know that people have said that about me. I know, I've heard it. I remember them telling me this, and I also, you know, can imagine what I was like. So I was talking to a lady, and I mean, she came off really defensive. She came off also very woe is me. And she was expressing herself to me. But again, because I don't know her like that, it kind of just came off as if she was complaining about her situation and her circumstances, and honestly, as if she was trying to make me feel guilty about them. So I let her know, because at the end of the day, the truth is, it's our choice in how we look at something. It's like I said, it's our choice how we look, how we respond to everything. And most importantly, it is our choice to remain a victim or to become a victor. When it comes to the differences between these mindsets, a victim is going to say, oh my gosh, all of this is happening to me. Or why are these things happening to me? A victor is going to, even if things are happening to them, the victor is going to look at it and be like, okay, what is it that I can do to do better? What is it that I can do to change my circumstance? How can I make this work for me? How can I turn this negative thing into a positive thing? This is the way victors think. Do you understand what I'm saying? I hope that this is coming clearly across. Victors understand that they have the power to change something around, and that is a huge, huge, huge weapon. And this is a way to become optimistic as opposed to pessimistic. It's a way to lift up your vibration, to lift up your spirit, and consequently to do that for other people too. So that when you deal with them, they're not drained after dealing with you. So that when you deal with them, you don't leave them feeling bad or super guilty as if it is single-handedly their problem or their responsibility to pick up things or the broken pieces to your life. I'm talking to myself too, guys, or my old self, because that was part of this was just me 2 years ago, almost 3. I didn't know that about everything. I didn't know that about the section I was in. But when it comes to the man that I was with, I was looking at him or looking to him to make me feel a certain type of way when really that wasn't his responsibility. It was mine. And a lot of us are guilty about doing that. That's both, like I said, any spirit, which means any gender, is capable of doing this. We're looking to other people to make us feel some type of way, make us feel comfortable, make us feel secure in something. Don't get me wrong. Any person who is concerned about you is going to do what they can to make you feel secure. But if they're not doing it, to demand it is not going to change anything. Maybe they're not there yet. Maybe they don't know how to do that. And maybe if they do, they don't want to. So you got to look at that too. Moving forward. There is a step in self-healing that many tend to overlook, and it's sad to say the least because it is free. You don't have to go to a therapist for this, okay? You don't have to buy a self-help book for this or pay anybody for this. Don't get me wrong, though these types of things help me make a living or other people make a living, but clearly I'm doing this for free. So it's not a problem. One way or the other, this needs to be said. This needs to get out. You guys need to be reminded of this. The free thing, and it initiates the pathway to healing. And it's nothing outside of ourselves. It is the power of choice. What am I saying? Choice. It is the power of choice, and most importantly, yours, mine. It's honestly, to be quite honest, the only choice that really matters. Other people can tell you all day that they love you. Other people can decide, they can pour into your spirit. They can try to lift you up all day, all night. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, if you don't choose to uplift yourself, and if you don't choose to start your self healing journey, and if you don't choose to start changing your own mind frame about the things that have happened to you, and determining who it is that you want to be and what kind of life it is that you want to lead, nobody else can do that for you. And no amount of no amount of motivation from other people, no amount of love even from other people can change that. So, without further ado, I am pretty much finished. That is a part of today's confidence conversations. It is about the choice that you have to make to heal yourself. And that begins with choosing who you're going to be. Am I going to be a victim? Am I going to remain? Am I going to remain a victim? Am I going to remain dominated by the things that happen to me, and not only by those things, but by the friends and the company and the cousins of those things? Like fear and depression. Am I going to allow those spirits to dominate me, or am I going to elevate myself? Because I do have that choice. And it begins here and here. What am I going to do? Am I tired yet of staying down? Am I tired yet of feeling bad all the time? Am I tired of going up and down in my emotions? Am I tired yet? These are the types of things that you got to decide within yourself, and nobody else can make this decision for you. Nobody else will be able to uplift you the way that your spirit that is within you can. The way that your simple choice, and not just a one-time choice, but a choice to consistently think better, to elevate yourself, it's all on you. It's not on anybody else. It's nobody else's fault. Yes, I understand you've been abused. I do. Don't take that from you. It happened. It was a seed that was planted. But what are you going to do now? What choice are you going to make now? What choice of the lifestyle that you want to lead now? That's on you. I made a choice when I was 14 years old that God, I wanted to use this negative thing to somehow draw people closer to you, Father, because you have helped me. You've helped keep me sane. And though I'm crazy in my own little way, and though I've messed up and I've made mistakes, and because of relationships that the Father have allowed me to join in and be a part of, they have magnified those things for me, not just so I could look at them and fall apart and be broken, but so that I could be broken to be rebuilt. But it all was based upon my decision. Once I was right at the door of depression, I decided I didn't want to be depressed anymore. I decided I don't want to think like I want to kill myself, because I'm more than this relationship. I am greater than this broken heart. So, and the Father must have plans for me because I'm here. So, because of these things that I may not completely know the full story about, or the complete and finished product about myself, I may not know what my full and utter purpose is here, what I'm here for, but I know that I don't want to live like this. And I don't want to live like this. So there's got to be something better. And I'm going to choose to seek God for what that is. That was the day that I pulled myself, or the spirit of the Most High within me pulled me up out of depression. I had thoughts of suicide too. Not initially about my abuse and stuff, though it happened too then, but all of it is about choice. Which choice are you going to choose? Which choice are you going to go with? That's the problem and the solution. It can become a problem when you choose to remain in the state of victimization. It can become a problem when you choose to blame other people for your unhappiness, for your unfulfillment, and for your discontentment. Or even, let me change the word blame to when you depend upon other people to do good things to you, or to make you feel good about yourself. It can go that way as well. It's on us. It's a choice that we have to consciously make. So with that being said, I'm going to say love, light, peace, and blessings to everybody. I love you guys. Bye.